Happy 2024, Maniacs! We are back with Sound and Pound. I am your host, Drake Riggs, along with my other host, Alex Behunin, here to bring you the first show of the year, all the craziness happening in the world of mixed martial arts. We will give it to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you had a fantastic end of 2023. Nice, safe, and sound. Good holidays, all that. We skipped the week because of all the holidays and things not happening, but there's still some stuff that happened over the past weekend over in Japan, of course, which we'll recap briefly. Good times there, as always. Don't forget to hit that like button, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. Or if you're on Twitter, do the retweets and all that. I think we got the comments working now after my experiment this past weekend, Alex. So if you are on Twitter, we can see your stuff now. So go ahead and comment there. That's always a good thing. So how are we doing, man? How was the break? Yeah, good, bad, fine, normal, or things? Obviously, a new man, if you guys can tell.
Yeah, no, my face is cold, bro. Like that.
Right.
I haven't lived in a place where it's been 3 years since I fully shaved my beard, and I gotta tell you, Vegas coldness. I felt it on my face when I was
Right.
walking away. I was like, holy shit, this is wasn't didn't feel that, but no, yeah, new man, new face, letting it grow back healthy, and the break has been fantastic. I'm glad that we still have another week of no
Yeah.
UFC, so chilling.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And of course, you guys make sure to get in your comments and questions today, as we're kind of going to do think maybe Q&A throughout the show rather than just at the end, just because we completely didn't prepare at all for today, which I kind of like that more because that's just our show and what you're going to get with us. So we're still going to do the movie club, of course, towards the end, and things that are similar to the normal agenda, but we're pretty much flying by what the seat of our pants for the start of the year. So couldn't have it any other way. Octagon Updates is here. How you doing, sir? Good to see you. Happy New Year. Isha is here. There we go. Kicking off the Twitter tweets for the first time on Sound Pound. Says, rising his hands down the premier promotion for entertainment and has a superior rule set. Won't find me disagreeing there. Could care less about no UFC when we have been spoiled during the break with like 20 plus amazing shows, guys. Yeah, there still has been action going on. What Octagon happened the past weekend, I believe. So they were doing open scoring right for the first time, kicking that off. I didn't see how it went, but I'm glad to see that. So let's touch on a little bit as yes, we can see you, Ghost. We are good here on the Twitters with the comments, like we said. So keep those coming. But mentioned Ryzen, got you to stay up for it as we were watching along over on my channel for the watch along Ryzen 45 closing out the year. A long show, maybe the longest Ryzen event of all time, because my stream was 8 hours long and I missed the first fight. So that's the dedication we have. And I mean, the thing for me, Alex, is like, I'm going to be watching it anyways. So, like, and I'm still spending that time doing that. So it's just fucking if I'm hanging out with you guys or not. So it was a good time. What, 17 total fights, a lot of finishes. Only a couple decisions at the beginning, from what I remember. Of course, Hiromasa got the unanimous over John Dodson. There were a couple here and there, but Alex, man, since of course you're the casual Ryzen Asian fan here, will tune in every now and then sporadically. What were your thoughts? Of course, I know you wanted the big highlights for the stories. We got some nasty ones early on, but general overall thoughts on Ryzen 45, pretty fun one, I'd say.
Yeah, no, it was my first time I like watched as far as I did it in a writing show. Usually, like I'll watch like the first 4 or 5. So I'm like, all right, I'm over it. But I needed not only did I want to, I kind of needed to because I needed some highlights.
Nothing
Sort
going
of,
on, yeah.
so like I was like, fuck, I'm kind of forced to do this. But I am, and then of course I went to sleep right before like the main cards
Yes.
kick off, which is like probably what everybody was waiting for. But man, I just it I love I love it just brings me back to Pride. It
Mm-hmm.
brings me back to the fucking cool New Year shows. Like I love those. It's always super special. And the fights were awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a breath of fresh air, you know, like we are bombarded by UFC
Mm-hmm.
46 times out of the year,
Yeah.
right? So like seeing a ring, a cool rule set, Asian fighters, dude,
Mm-hmm.
they're just it's just awesome to see. And the fights were awesome, man.
Yeah.
There wasn't really like one fight where I was like, all right, like well, check my
Yeah.
phone. Like, they were all fun, and you didn't know what was going to happen. Um, I did want to highlight that my boy Vince Morales looked fucking
Yeah,
fantastic. He
that
looks.
was maybe, I mean, maybe the surprise of the night for me. I really thought he was going to get on the end of a highlight reel, like, but he looked. I mean, do you agree? I was saying on the night, best he's ever looked. I thought he looked amazing.
I think so. I think so. He never lived up to his full potential in the UFC, even though like he went the distance with Song Yadong and everything. Like this one, like he looked aggressive.
Mhm.
He looked very very good. I was super surprised, and I was happy to see that, man. And I mean the overhand right knockout was just fucking
Oh God,
filthy.
yeah.
Um, and then we talked about it leading up to the fight, but matching up a kickboxer with an Olympic wrestler, I was like, is that the worst matchmaking of all time? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Ota versus Ashizawa went 112% how it should have. But he took him down within like 20 seconds, and then
I mean,
that
bro,
was that.
what was that?
That
Yeah,
was pure New Year's Eve spectacle, is what that was like. I feel so bad for Ashizawa because like he's actually wants to make a run and then start off like this, but he's just a psycho, so he'll say, "Fuck it, let's go." But yeah,
yeah,
not great matchmaking.
and so I didn't watch Archuleta, I didn't watch Gooch live. I went back and
Mhm.
rewatched the fights. But what did you think? Because I didn't watch them with you.
Yeah.
What did you think of those two fights?
So I thought they were both very good. I mean, Kai and Juan, I thought was excellent. I mean, the bursts of kind of exchanges that they were both having and Juan's aggression kind of caught me off guard. I think because of the circumstances, that's why he kind of fought a little bit that way. And he was having success. I think he was probably winning until he got caught. But dude, this was the thing that stood out to me was think about this. Kai Asakura, he won his last two fights by the exact same fashion. That time knee to the body, like I don't know if I've ever seen somebody hit it like that. And if finish where Juan was coming in, attacking him. He wasn't even going for a takedown, but he still landed it. I've never kind of seen that sequence of like, dude, I mean the precision obviously from to do that twice now, but like
It's
Kai
nasty.
Asakura always knowing he's a fantastic striker. That's obviously his bread and butter, but like he's getting more more scary. Like, and to put away Juan, who's a very tough guy, I mean, that doesn't happen. So that was incredible for sure. Horiguchi and Shinru, I think I was honestly more impressed by Shinru. I thought he did very well. And then, of course, just I think the experience kind of overwhelmed him by the time that the choke came. And Horiguchi's Horiguchi, one of the greatest Japanese fighters of all time. You could argue he is that. But now has held belts in two divisions. So pretty darn good. I think it's great for him specifically, showing that he's not done yet. I think people were kind of writing him off after the Bellator losses, which is completely bullshit. When you look at he was dominating Sergio Pettis, and then flat out, it's a definition of like getting caught. And then Patchy Mix was the other guy. I mean, they're like it's like a 100-pound difference is what it looks like. Like, they're just different. Built that's built different for you right there. But yeah, Horiguchi was impressive as well. Good stuff, good stuff. I mean, did one impress you more than the other?
Um, probably Horiguchi, just because two divisions.
Yeah,
He just doesn't look like he's slowing down much. Like
yeah.
he's still top of his game. Still, one of the best flyweights out there. Like it's awesome.
Where do we rank him? Like worldwide, I think it's obviously like top two, top three, because I
Man.
would love to see him against, Moreno, Pantoja, but I think he's definitely up there. He's always been up there, obviously.
Yeah, it's tough. There. If someone said he's the best flyweight on the planet
Mhm,
right now, I wouldn't have much argument,
mhm,
except for just maybe the competition compared to Pantoja right now. Like
mhm.
that's the only kind of thing. But then you look at like body of work as
Yeah.
well. So yeah, it's Pantoja and Gooch are 1 and 2. You can kind of flip flop them on any day you think.
Yeah, 100% agree there. And like, I hate to kind of do this game, but I'm gonna do it because fuck it. Like, you look at how Pantoja slowed down in the end of the last fight. Gooch probably would have on that night would have beat him. You take both of these guys from the last two fights. I mean, how the fights went. I'm just saying. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. Never gonna happen, but I'd love to see it. So all right, that's Ryzen 45 though, you guys. If you tuned in, you did not miss out. But let's get to some of these comments here before we get to kind of the newsy things that have happened over the past 2 weeks. As the Overlord says, we need a women's heavyweight division. Not so sure about that one, but to each their own, brother. I mean, lightweight was bad enough. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Isha says the open scoring was tremendous. I mean, have always been a big fan of open scoring, so I'm glad that it went well, if that's what you're alluding to. Each says, I streamed a Fight Companion 2, 9.5 hours, watched the World Junior Hockey after 48. Geez, you are a psycho, Isha. That is commitment to sports. It was a never miss a Ryzen event. Everyone lost money on that card, though. So many upsets. Yeah, that was kind of the big thing, too, Alex. Like you mentioned, Vince Morales, that was a big upset. Knee with his knockout over Yamasu was technically an upset, which is insane. Like going into that, it was dumb. Hero over John Dodson was an upset. Kai, I don't know what the odds were by the time they closed, but he was the underdog too. Like, yeah, there were a good amount.
Heavyweight fight, right? Too.
Yes, Ueda was one. Yeah, there were a great amount. So good shout out there, Isha, for sure. Losing people money. And it was sad. There were there was actually a guy in my chat. Shout out to Edwards. That was his name. You probably saw it. He had that parlay, right? He had the four-legger for 16K. He would have won. He got the first leg with Ren, but then spoiled right after that. And then he hit with Kai. So I think he got half at the end. But yeah,
it's tough.
Tough game to play. Ghost says, Drake, did you like Kyoji going full Kid Yamamoto near the end of the fight? How so? Remind me exactly. Going style throw, leaping left hooks. Oh yeah, no, he was looking throw a little throwback there on the same night Miyu retires. So there you go. Bog says, sup, Alex?
Sup?
From Twitter there. James is here. Says it was great hanging with you during your Rise and Watch Along. Then I fell asleep at 4 a.m. Hey, man, you made it farther than Alex. But yes, it was a good time, James. Thanks for tuning in, hanging out. As Bog throwing a wild card at us here now. Thoughts on Danny Sabatello? So, fun guy, character.
He's my pal. Yeah, no, he needs to develop his striking. I'll put it that way.
Yes, that will be big for him. I think he's a fun guy to have. Well, I was gonna say to have in a PFL tournament, but obviously we have to wait on that unless he moves up. But I think it'd be fun to see a fighter like him in the tournament. So
for sure.
We'll see, what that immediate future holds for Danny. James says, do you think Shinru is going to be something special in the future? He's got insane athletic talents and competed with Horiguchi, who's legit talent. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think, I was probably more impressed. Not that I was, surprised that Shinru could hang the way he did with Horiguchi, but it's still, one of those things when you see how well they end up doing, it's very impressive. So, I don't think he lost any stock from that loss, of course. He's 16-2, I think now, 15-2 because of that. Still super young. He's going to be around for a long, long time. The guy has already put together a very great career, has some great highlights. I mentioned the flying knee into the guillotine he got, 2 years ago or so. Yeah, he's awesome. He's going to stick around for.
How do the rising contracts work? Are they allowed to go fight for other, not big organizations, but regional promotions?
Yeah, so they're generally always pretty flexible, but some people are more exclusive than others, right? So I know for sure Naoki Inoue is one of those guys where he's kind of locked into only Ryzen, but whereas it varies person by person, which is I think cool that they allow that kind of thing. But you look at Sayakizawa, who she's fought in Deep I think once since coming to Ryzen, and she's the champ, one of the stars there. And with a guy like Horiguchi, he's kind of obviously between with Bellator PFL now. So, yeah, they're all very unique in that case, but some people are more locked than others, which generally is by their own choice, so it just kind of depends in that regard. But Big Ben is here, the Banester, big parlay lads. Alex looking like he just did 9 months in solitary confinement.
That's out, bro.
Just got out. That's his loving the new hairstyle. Yep, of course. I just pulled it to the side today after waking up is all it is. But yeah, we're growing it for a little bit here. I don't know how long. Bog says, "What is Sabatello's best path to greatness, and where do we rank him in the world bantamweight rankings right now?" My goodness, um,
He's top 50. He's top 15.
in the
Maybe
world,
maybe top 20.
I think, yeah, 2025 ish range. I mean, it's his bantamweight we're talking about. Division's so loaded, and like
That's
saying your top 25 is still insanely good, right? Like,
fuck. I forgot, man. What?
yeah, dude. Like,
That is true.
I think 100% he's within the 30, but I'd probably have him 25, 20-ish if I had to look at exactly where
Yeah,
he's
I mean,
going to
I
go.
had him high, but his 3 losses have really like put him back.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
So, but his path to greatness, I think that Alex kind of mentioned it though. If like he can develop a really good striking game to go along with his already like top tier elite wrestling, like if you look at him as a wrestler, like he's probably a top 10 guy, you know, like when you kind of take the skill set there. So if he can add a little something extra, while still not abandoning the wrestling, that's always a big part too. So that's what I would say. He's also asking Big
Tom
Train
Nolan
Tom Nolan. How do we feel about
is man.
him?
He's fighting my boy Nicholas Mata, and he's probably gonna knock Nicholas out.
So there we go. Sorry, Nick. Alvin is here. Good to see you. How are you doing? Happy New Year. We are into the new year. Wishing all positive encouragement. We appreciate it oh so much, Alvin. We appreciate you. As Bog asking one more. How did you guys score the two Stotts fights? So I still have yet to get to the rematch. I know I need to because Alex said it was phenomenal. But the first one, my goodness,
The
that
first one, I was biased because I bet Daniel Sabatello, and I still feel like he won, but I was had money on it, so I wasn't looking at it with a clear
the clear lens.
non-biased fashion.
I uh I think it was super close, obviously. Of course, the infamous 50-45 Sabatello, excuse me.
Stupid.
It was like 48-47 either way. I wouldn't have been mad at, but I think I edged it to Stotts. But I think 3-2, however you want it. It's one of those crazy ones to score. As he says, he thought it scored at 4-1. Septo was closer than 3-2 Stotts. I mean, again, it was super competitive. So those guys just kind of have those styles to where their fights are going to end up looking like that. But all right, keep your questions coming and whatnot. You guys will get back to them as we continue on with kind of the little segments here that we got teed up for you, but we appreciate it all the same. So let's talk about some of the newsy things, Alex. Some of the things that have been happening or alleged to happen in the coming months here to kick off the first half of the year. So our thumbnail today and our big question is Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler maybe finally happening, set to happen? There's been no official confirmation from UFC yet. There's been no denial from the UFC yet either. Just Conor coming out and saying with his goofy style that he would, his videos, swirling wine and whatnot, that he's going to be fighting International Fight Week against Chandler at middleweight. So this is all like the goofiest way for it to be potentially announced. I just cannot. Let's say that the first part of that is correct and it's happening International Fight Week. Makes sense. I can see that totally. Fucking sucks that that's, the middle of the year. That's bogus, ridiculous. I cannot possibly see the middleweight thing actually being true though, Alex. What is your read on all this? What is the reaction, everything to the big news of the start of the year?
So I know that they were trying to get it for UFC 300. Like that was the plan. That's what
Mm-hmm.
they wanted. um, with Conor saying that he's fighting middleweight, it makes me believe that like he couldn't get down to a smaller weight class by April, maybe.
Yeah,
Or he could just be trolling everybody, that
most
he's
likely.
fighting middleweight. Like that's the thing. It does make sense. International Fight Week. I think it would have made a little bit more sense UFC 300 just because it's a bigger more historic event. So I think
Mm-hmm.
Conor on that would have been more bigger than International Fight Week. But then again, like
Argument though, then is that 300 doesn't need him.
egg
That's
1000%.
yeah,
Yeah, like UFC is gonna do super good, and
yeah,
International Fight Week is gonna do super good
yep,
too now. So, but then again, like I'm not gonna believe Conor until I see him like weigh in or like fight week.
right.
I'm not. I don't. he's been saying this for fucking 2 years now, and I'm not gonna believe it until I see it. So it is what it is. It's cool. I do think the sport is better when Conor McGregor is fighting because it brings more eyeballs, and it's just he's the biggest star that the US that MMA's ever seen.
Mhm.
So it's always nice to see him back and like in the headlines and stuff. But like, I'm not gonna believe it. He's fighting until yeah.
So I'm aligned with pretty much all you're saying there. But I'm gonna throw this caveat out. I think that once there is like an announcement, I'll be like, okay, we're on board. Because if you look at this, I'm gonna defend Connor here actually, but he's never actually pulled out of a fight or like once something's official, it hasn't happened. Like
Sure.
he's had opponents change up on him and whatnot, but he actually follows through with the commitments, which is good. Good to see out of someone, of course, of his position where he can do practically whatever he wants for the most part, except for when that pesky USADA is involved. So, yeah, I think the weight thing that you mentioned there probably. I mean, that still seems hard to imagine though, because like depending on what he's at right now, which I can't imagine being like 200 or anything, but I guess you never know.
I mean, he's thick as fuck, like that's it's you can still see it in his face, which is crazy because a few months ago he looked
It was
a little bit
leaning.
more leaning out. So I don't know, dude. I don't know what the weight class. I think middleweight's. I think he's torn a little bit. I just can't see it in
Yeah.
mid. Like, dude, like
Honestly, that would be kind of cool just because like I'm all for not weight cutting. Go ahead, like have him just fight. But to think about those two guys, and like Chandler specifically, who's like what 5'7", like,
it's like imagine Michael Chandler and Alex Pereira
in
standing
the
there.
same division. Yeah.
Like
That is
what do we do? It's only mixed martial arts, bro. Like what the
right. So silly. So yeah. Um it's wild. It's pretty on brand for the direction all of this has gone. But Ghost says I might be the minority, excuse me here, but I'm one of the guys that don't want to see Chandler versus Connor. So for me, at this point, the only reason I've not wanted to see it at this point now is because we're holding back Michael Chandler, man. Like this guy, it is an absolute travesty that he has not fought in over a year. They're both getting older, of course, but like Michael Chandler is one of the most exciting fighters on the planet, and we're just not having him fight because he really wants this matchup. Like, God damn it, that's my thing about it, um, which is annoying. But I get it. I get it. Of course, he's gonna do that. But Ghost says his reason is because it's really funny for Connor to string him along. I know it's bullshit, Ghost. Don't like it. Um, Adam in the arena says, notice how Dana has been completely silent. Seems fitting that he would have said something for this fight. Could be on vacation. Probably on vacation, right, Alex?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Since our last show, MVP is now in the UFC. Uh,
That is true.
how do you how do you see his UFC career going? Is it going to go the Chandler way, or is he not going to be?
You know what? I think I think there's a much better chance of it going that way than not, right? Because Chandler, he beat Hooker, then it was title shot, right? It was
Yeah,
one and then in. Um, I could see I think maybe 2 for MVP just because welterweight's kind of, weird right now, and then by the time all this plays out, Shavkat should be fine, and you would, in theory, assume he's gonna have to wait, depending on if he fucking, of course, breaks Holland's face in or something insane, like, that would obviously do him a lot better, but you think about, again, MVP, I always forget that he's actually, like, almost 42, so it's, like, almost an identical situation to Chandler in those parallels of kind of the star power and things like that, but also with like welterweight kind of needing a not he's not really a huge personality outside the cage so much. Like he's got some, of course, and he gives us some good sound bites sometimes, but it's arguably definitely more than Shavkat and then arguably more than Bilal. So like for those reasons alone, if he goes out there and gets a highlight of Kevin Holland of all people, who the UFC already loves and is very durable, he's going to be in a pretty goddamn good spot, Alex. I think that's an amazing question. I wouldn't be surprised if he only needed 2 wins because, say, he beats him, there is that potential, I think, for a title shot, depending on where everything else is at. But then who he beats after, it's got to be someone above him. Like, let's say you matched him with Colby or something, which would, I don't really care for that at all. But if he goes out there, beats him, then it's a guarantee, you know? What do you think?
I mean, it's he could like say he goes out, beats Kevin Holland, and then you match him with like the winner of Gilbert Burns, JDM, right? Or like maybe you
Yeah.
match him with Kamaru Usman, or you match him with like the loser of Leon and Bilal. You know, like
Yeah.
there's yeah, it's
Everything's new.
yeah,
Everything's new for him. He can go anywhere.
yeah. It all depends on like how he does in that Kevin Holland fight, and then like how much hype he brings with him, right? Like, um, but then again, like he is older, so like maybe the UFC is just kind of using him just for his name, and like they're gonna
Yeah.
put him in fun fights, right? Like that's the thing about Chandler is like I don't think he should have got a title shot off of beating Dan Hooker, but then again, like you look at his fights in the UFC, he's had like 2 fight of the years, he had a knockout of the year, like he's been absolute fireworks since the day he
Yes.
stepped in the fucking cage, you know?
Yeah. That's been definitely a big part of it for sure. And I mean, also we got to look at this element too, is the international side with,
Yeah,
building up, the United Kingdom still and all that. England, we've got Aspinall now and Edwards as champions. I mean, think about that. Just MVP versus Edwards for London in general or something like that.
yeah,
That's all they would need. So I think I would be, I don't, I think I might be surprised if he needs more than 2 wins, really, just with all things considered in the directions that they could go. So that's gonna
yeah.
be fascinating to play out. And since we're just talking about it, early lean on that fight though, because it's an interesting matchup. I think Kevin Holland's fight IQ might cost him because he prefers to be exciting rather than fight smart.
Yeah, it's tough, like, I see why people call MVP a can crusher, but, like, I feel like his
He's
last
gotten
5
over it.
fights like, no, yeah, he's been fighting good competition, and, I mean, if Kevin Holland uses his grappling and wrestling, he does have a path to victory, but
Yeah.
I just feel like he's gonna wanna go out there and out kickbox the
Especially because
kickboxer.
of who he's
Yeah,
fighting. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, and if he does that, he's gonna get caught.
Yeah. 100%. So that will be a good one, though. What is that? 298 or 999, I think.
Miami, yeah, two
Yeah,
299.
so that will be cool. But also, Alex, we got the announcements for the first bouts of UFC 300, which I wanted to mention, of course, since we've all been fantasizing and predicting what it could be. I know you specifically made an article for that, right? So go check that out, MMAmania.com. Shameless plug for Alex. Just 3 so far, though. We got the former light heavyweight champ Yuri Prohaska welcoming back Alexander Rakic. Former bantamweight champ Aljamain Sterling, his featherweight debut against Calvin Kattar. And then the spotlight prospect fight is Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage, which feels completely out of place compared to those, but we know why it's there. How do we feel about this first batch? Obviously, I think I mean, in terms of a fight, the last one isn't really going to be a fight, right? But first two, don't hate them. I'm stunned that Yuri is the fucking underdog right now, or he was on opening odds, but it's gonna be fun.
I mean, that fight, it's an awesome fight. It's one of the best fights in that division that could be made right now. And I understand why Yuri's on 300, but I feel like that fight would have been fucking massive if it was made in Europe at some point, right? Like,
Yeah,
it would have been huge. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. Like, I don't like watching Alexander Rakic fight. So with that being in mind, like I always think like, oh, like he's gonna get beat, but like he's so good. Like,
yeah,
although his knockout, his head kick knockout
Jimmy.
is, of Jimmy Manoa is like like that knockout is seared into my brain. Like it's one of the most violent knockouts like I'll ever. Like it's like
Hmm.
the way Jimmy falls back and hits his head, like it's so nasty. But like since that fight, he's just been super underwhelming to watch. So like
Yeah, the Santos one was a big stinker.
yeah, so it's just like it's really like yeah, I don't care. But I mean, I just
But
it
with
is
Yuri on the other side, I mean, that ain't happening. You would
yeah,
think.
yeah, you would think, man. Yuri is chaos is just it's Yuri. Yuri's Yuri.
And this is rebounding off title loss, Yuri, too. So like,
Yeah.
fucking get ready
Yeah,
for
there's
that.
that, and then Alexander's coming back off his
Yeah,
nasty, knee injury. So it's a very fascinating fight. Could definitely be a number one contender fight as well. So yeah, I mean it's a good fight, and it is. Yeah, Rakic is the favorite right now, which is pretty. Yeah,
it's super wild.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know who I'm picking right now, but that's going to be a crazy
Mm.
fight.
Then Sterling Cater, is that the right move? I wish I really think the Max fight was pretty good matchmaking for Sterling.
It made all the sense in the world. It gives Aljo a big fight for his featherweight debut, and it keeps Max busy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, maybe makes sense that Max is waiting for the Volk Ilya fight, but like,
Praying for the upset.
but if Ilya win, which Ilya is going to win, but when Ilya beats Volk, is gonna get an immediate title shot. So
Yeah.
like, so Max is gonna be on the
What's the
sideline.
point? Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough fight for Aljo.
That's
Calvin's
also Cater coming back off injury, both
yeah,
him and
yeah,
Rakic. Yeah.
yeah. It's a tough fight for Aljo. Um, and I'm very curious to see how Aljo's size comes over.
Translates.
Yeah, I mean he is a big dude. I've seen him at
Mm-hmm.
Syndicate and Extreme Couture a few times out of camp. He's big.
Yeah.
So if he puts on muscle and strength, and plus I think he's still only 33 years old. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. And we haven't have we really seen Cater like out wrestled like for like a wrestling loss, like a full 3 round. I can't really think of one, honestly.
I
But
don't.
I think I would attribute that more to him just having not fought a guy like that, and not to say, you know, that's exactly the approach that Sterling will go with. But I think that's an interesting,
How did the
wrinkle.
Zabit fight go?
Zabit didn't really wrestle him too much. Kind of outstruck him the first two. Maybe some takedowns. I think I do remember, like maybe in the second round, but it wasn't like that, because he lost the third round because Zabit loses every third round. But
Yeah, and then we would have seen it against Arnold Allen, but obviously that was the fight that he got injured with. So
right, good point.
yeah, I have to go back and look at, like, he hasn't
Mm-hmm.
fought a lot of wrestlers.
Mm-hmm. So that will definitely be something he'll be training. That is for sure. And then Nickel versus Brundage. Go saying is Bo Nickel versus Brundage the fight Dana said he's putting in the prelims. I mean, you would think it would have to be considering what'll hopefully be on the card, but right move for Bo. How do you feel about the speed? Because that's the whole thing with him, is where do we push him towards, right? Like how quickly? I think maybe after this one, I guess, depending how it goes. I mean, Cody, he's where he is right now. But I don't know.
I mean, it's tough, right? It's tough. Like, I feel like they should have given him like a Brad Tavares type of fight,
Yeah.
but Brad Tavares is like been in the UFC for 700 years, like, so like
Total veteran.
it's a tough fight. So like, I don't know. Like, the thing about beating someone like Cody, I mean, Cody has a lot of UFC experience too, but like, he hasn't had the best run in the past year and a half. So like, I
Yeah.
feel like if they're still going to slow build Bo, maybe give him someone a little bit more established.
Hmm.
Because I think I went over Cody Brundage really doesn't do anything
Yeah.
for him. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm like, I just
Shoot him
but
to
it's
the moon.
kind of like I'm like, it just depends on the fighter. I'm very like dependent on what fighter, because like some fighters I want them to slow roll, and then some fighters I'm like, all right, go, just like let's just go, you know.
I think the big differentiator between those kind of guys that you're mentioning is performance, and if they're doing what exactly they should be doing. And he's kind of exceeding that, probably, with the way he's performing in these fights. It's like, all right, he should be winning, but he's not just winning, he's styling, like he's fucking
Yeah, like that's the thing is I want him to fight like somebody that could like maybe stuff his takedowns, or like Like that's what I want to see him test it. And I like Cody has good wrestling. I just don't think it's like it's like they would have never made this fight, but like a Bo Nickel versus Ikram type of fight, like someone
Right.
who can stop
Yeah.
his wrestling to
Ooh,
see
that
what
would have been great.
happens, when Bo can't wrestle, right? Like
Yes.
what does he do now?
Yeah, an actual test in that regard. I agree. That would be great.
Which is a Brett Tavares because Brett
Yeah.
Tavares has some of the best takedown defense in the UFC.
Yeah, and then of course, like him, there's nothing. He's where he is at this point in his career, so it's like, yeah, that was the one. After this, hopefully, that's the one I think. But Brad, does he have one coming up too? So maybe it'll align. Yeah,
He's matched up with RoboCop.
that's right. That's right. So yeah, he's fucking fully playing gatekeeper. Is what it is. Love Brad, but yeah, well, that is definitely the one I think. No matter what happens, so.
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world.
Mhm. All right, and we'll throw it to James here as he says, speaking of Conor, why does UFC try to make the worst possible cards ever? Like the co-main of Conor Cowboy was Home Pennington. That was a rematch, wasn't
Because
it? Or
they don't need to stack the cards because they got
yep. The what is it? The yeah, the stat card myth is a real myth though. Like I hate that it is, but it all depends on the main event. Like UFC really doesn't need to stack any card. They really don't. But they do that out of fan service more than anything because, as we've seen with Connor specifically, as you highlight there, James, yeah, they can make a card. They could just do his fight by itself and sell the $16 that it used to be. Of course, we're up to more than that now, but yeah, that's the reason there. As he says, like if the UFC wanted to build up Sean O'Malley at the time, why not put him as a co-main of Conor McGregor card? Shrugging my shoulders. Yeah, I mean, that's a great strategy to do it. Kind of I know that there were some cases where, on the main cards they had kind of, prospecty fighters like similar to maybe an O'Malley position when Connor was more active, of course. I'd have to go back and look at the cards, but yeah, that's definitely the strategy. No need to stack with a bunch of ranked fighters or whatnot, as much as that's what we all really want. It's all business. As James says, will Holland versus MVP look like Thompson versus Holland? I can't imagine it being as action packed, Alex, just because of the MVP side of things. That's just, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, honestly, what has been the most exciting MVP fight? Like, he has great highlights, of course, good performances, but in terms of his most exciting fight, like, I feel like maybe he hasn't had one, like a fight, definitely nothing like Thompson versus Holland. Like what do you got? I know you just pulled it up.
Yeah, I
Right? Like his style is not made for exciting fights. Like this could be one, but on that same
well,
level.
I mean, it's the same thing as Stephen Thompson. I don't like watching Wonderboy fight because he has boring fights, right? Like he has some good ones in there, like him Woodley, him Holland, but
Luke.
like other than that, Luque. But there's some in there that's like, ugh.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean he has a lot of finishes that
Yes.
makes it exciting, but like
Makes him a fighter, as
right.
what people want to see. But the fights themselves, like not those competitive classics. He has none of those, which is kind of crazy. I didn't really think about that till just now. So, no, I'm gonna say no on that one, James. I mean, again, if any fighter has a potential to give him that, and of course Holland is one half of the other fight too that you're comparing it to, there'd be a chance here. But problem is, again, I think that he'll get caught before he has the chance to maybe get that crazy. So we will see. We will see. But James asked, how would you guys address Chinese fighters' wrongly reported age, like Song Yadong being older than he is, or Zhang Weili being younger than her reported age? What is
I've
this?
I've no. It's funny enough.
I don't
I've
know
had
about this.
a few fighters kind of come to me and actually like try and figure out like they think Song Yadong's older than he is.
Oh,
Like
really?
yeah, because like there was like a couple like he had three different ages like on Sherdog, Tapology, and then like one of his older. It was like a Chinese site, and it was like he was like 4 years older than he really is.
Oh, wow. It's like the Ngannou thing all over again. I guess
Yeah, no,
there's
for
that
sure.
going around
No,
too.
it's actually a real thing. It's funny
Oh,
someone actually
okay.
brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to investigate, but that is I mean, what happens a lot of times in those type of situations, James, is where like that's the regional like things get fucked up from the build earlier in their careers, right? So who knows? I guess the truth aside from him, we'll have to ask him, I guess. But uh, yeah, that's kind of how that happens, especially and maybe the international ones too. Um, can be a bit more messy, especially when they cross over to America and whatnot. So in certain cases, that's how that goes. But all right. So, Alex, let's move along to our crystal ball portion of the show. Let's have a little bit of fun with the 2024 element and kicking us off here on the second day of the year. Let's talk about the champs. Let's do a little bit of the futures, right? As they're called in the betting. Who will be the champs, the UFC champs, by the end of 2024? I got the rankings up right here, right now, so I can see everybody. Nice, pretty. I guess the question to start off with here is like, yeah, how many will change? Let's just go by division. Why don't we?
Okay.
Should we start top to bottom or bottom to top?
Um, let's go flyweight up.
All right, flyweight up. Alexandre Pantoja. Does he hang on to the belt by the time we're going into 2025?
Man, it's tough.
I know at this division of all.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna call Manel Cop.
Ooh, all right, all right. I like that one. Of course, Cop has been like the unluckiest guy, so hopefully this can be the year gets things back on track and starting off with his rematch against Nicolau. Um, yeah, and I mean he already fought Pantoja too, right? So again, it's all this cycle of rematches, unfortunately, at flyweight, but they are always fun. So there's that. I think I'm gonna agree. Pantoja's not gonna hold on to the belt. Um, just because, like, man, it's insane looking at just the top. I got to go top 6 here because Cop is at 6. I think, of course, he has a chance to win too, like you said. But then, like Moreno, I think potentially could still beat him. If that fight was to happen again. Albazi has a chance. Those are kind of the big 3 I'm looking at here. But between Albazi and Cop, I would think one of them would probably be my pick as well. But either way, I'm gonna agree. But if Pantoja is still a champ, that's not gonna surprise me at all. But just like this is a tough division to repeat what Demetrius did. Like,
Yeah, it's tough, and plus, like when I factor in this, you have to think about timing, right? Like timing
yes.
wise, because Moreno and Albazi are
Albazi,
fighting
yep.
February, right? And then
Mhm.
Pantoja is going to fight them probably June,
Mhm.
maybe International Fight Week, June, July. So that means he'll probably defend one last. The winner of that will defend one last time later of the year, and who's
Mhm.
going to be the one against like that? Like that's got to give me the shot to win. So that's what I kind of factor into.
Right. Yeah, no, the timing is that is 100% like maybe the biggest thing about doing these predictions. So,
Yeah,
and especially for the next division as we go up to bantamweight now with Sean O'Malley as the champ. I mean, fighting in March, um, probably destined for 2 at best, assuming he wins
yeah.
the first one coming up against Cheeto, which I do think he will do. But does he hang on to it? Does he avoid Marab for the whole year? that's the question here. Sean O'Malley champ by the end of 2024. I am going to say, oh man, this is super tough because it really fully depends on who he fights.
Look at there's a world right where
Yes.
Marab and Henry are fighting in February. Wonder if that's going to get a shot. But
Mhm.
Corey Sandhagen's out there,
Yes.
and
Who
they do
I think he beats Sean as well. So
so they say fuck Marab, fuck Henry. Let's run Sugar versus Sandhagen.
yeah. But then I have this feeling though of gets past Cheeto, and then something goofy. Something goofy happens, like a featherweight fight, maybe, like just because it's O'Malley. And, he hasn't seemed too committed to that potential idea at some point. But I
Cody
feel like
Cody
also with this,
Garbrandt.
yeah, yeah, something that Garbrandt goes and beats somebody in his next fight for some reason. Like, okay, let's do that. But in terms of just what we're looking at and working with here, and the most likely, those three guys that you just all mentioned right there, I think they all stylistically are tough ass matchups. I don't know if I want to say that they all do beat him. I'd probably favor them all against him, but that's 3-1. So I don't think O'Malley's gonna. If I had to predict who's gonna be the champ by the end of the year, I'm just gonna believe that Merab will get his title shot, and he's gonna do it. What do you say?
Man,
That is tricky to figure out.
yeah. I'm just gonna say yes because I know the UFC wants him as champion. So
Right.
there's
They'll make it work.
yes, absolutely.
All right. Then the featherweight division, you already spoiled your prediction here for this one. So it's no faith in Volk, one of the greatest featherweights of all time. Alex does not think he will be the champ by the end of the year. I mean, honestly, this division's pretty easy. I think I mean, this really depends a lot on if Volk does lose to Tapuria, because then you throw in the possibility of Holloway, because no chance he's beating Volk. I don't think that's just ever going to happen at this point. We don't need to stop fight anymore. That's the thing, is they don't need to fight ever again, right? So Volkanovski wins. Does it pretty much come down to just the first fight, Alex? Then he's safe. He's good for the year. I think pretty much. I'm going to
I
stick with him.
mean,
I think he's hanging on. I can't doubt Volk anymore.
so he's gonna be the second champion ever to win past defend a title over the age of 35. He has
Ooh,
that
all right.
going. He has that going against him.
Okay, all right. I believe in the
Tyron
great.
Woodley, yeah, Tyron Woodley's the only one to, and it's welterweight and under. Like, the little guys can't do it.
Okay, you're going with the stats for this pick.
Yeah,
So are you
absolutely. And
thinking?
that plus, I think Ilya Taporia is that guy.
Yes, he is. He's very good. So Tapuria, by the end, you think he'll hang on to it
Yeah,
after the? Okay,
1000%. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's fair. I think that is fair. Pretty clear division there, I would say. Then we move up to lightweight. Might also be pretty clear, but I know some people have their wild card takes on lightweight, as Islam Makhachev is the champ. And I think really, Alex, I mentioned the O'Malley kind of wackiness here. There might be even more potential for Islam to go up and try and become a double champ, which
I hope
makes
he doesn't.
yeah, which would keep him obviously safer in the prediction here. Skipping out on a fight. And I mean, the thing is, he wants 2 fights. Hopefully, gets one much sooner rather than later. He's definitely 100% not fighting more than 2 times because of Ramadan, of course. But because of that, just the frequency chances for Islam and then who he's going to fight, like, let's say it's Oliveira next. Obviously, the Gaethje wrench is in there, who I think has a better chance at this point. I still think he's got the edge. I think Makhachev pretty safe pick here.
Yeah, I think he's gonna fight Gaethje next, and then he's gonna fight. And then if Sarukian and Oliveira fight, he'll fight the winner of that a little later in the year. And if Armin and Makachev win, like that, there's a big chance that he loses.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna pick Makachev to hold the belt. But the following year, he's gonna lose to Benoit to me.
All right, getting ahead of ourselves. I like it.
2025.
Spice it up. Yeah, that's all timing there. I think we are in store for some fun BDS BSD BSD fights in 2024. So yes, there we go. And then we go to welterweight though, which is pretty interesting as well. Leon Edwards, current champ, looking like we will get that rematch with Bilal. I mean, the 2 guys he's most likely.
Shavkat's gonna hold the belt by the
It's
end
the
of the
Shavkat
year.
year.
Shavkat. It's the Shavkat show. He's champion by the end of the year.
Oh,
You know it. I know it. It is. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with you, but a roundabout way. I think that Bilal is gonna beat Leon in like a really close fight, and then they'll move on, and we'll have Bilal versus Shavkat as the second title fight, and Shavkat will win it from there. Because I think that Leon will beat Shavkat, honestly, but this is gonna be hot potato year briefly for welterweight. But I'll agree with Shavkat there, but I don't think he'll beat Leon for it. So, all right, then we go to another
Interesting.
tricky one. The middleweight division. Sean Strickland's our champ right now, and he's got a tough one in front of him coming up this month. DDP. How much faith do you have in Tarzan, Alex? He's getting better
Yeah.
every time. He is.
It's fucking tough. It really is.
He's gonna have to get through Hamzat.
It's tough because like even DDP, I've picked against DDP in every single one of his fights, basically. Other than his UFC debut, but other than that, I've picked against him every time. And he's proved me wrong. I do think an emotional Strickland is a more dangerous one. So I think Strickland might be able to beat DDP. So
it's
then
just about after that.
so then they line up with Hamzat. And I do think if Hamzat looked the way he did against Usman, Strickland beats him 100 times out of 100 times. 1,000 times. Like, unless Hamzat finishes him in the first round, Strickland beats him every time. And I stand by that. Now, if DDP beats Strickland, then Hamzat beats DDP. So it all comes back down to will Strickland hold the belt?
Yeah. He's an active guy. That doesn't help his chances.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be champion.
Yeah.
It's hard not to pick Hamzat.
Yep. That's my pick. It's the safe one.
Yeah, it's probably the safest pick. But like I said, if Sean does end up fighting Hamzat, Sean's gonna beat Hamzat all fucking day.
Ooh. I mean, I'm looking forward to any combination of like those three guys there, and of course, there is always the Adesanya wild card in there. But I don't think he will be our champion, just all with the consideration of some of those matchups there. But yeah, middleweight it's going to be very interesting at the top.
My boy Brendan Allen's coming too.
He's also on the rise. Yes, he might be an early 2025 guy, but we'll see. As we go up to light heavyweight, Alex Pereira. I mean, you want to talk about hot potato titles? This has been the cursed, the plagued division since 2020, of course. But can Poatan hang on, Alex? I mean, my goodness. Don't know who he's. Well, we're expecting the Jamal Hill fight once Jamal is ready. I think Ankalaev just has to get back to the title, and then he'll be winning it. He's just he's got that style. He already should have been the champ, as far as I'm concerned. He's gonna get it this year for sure.
Yeah, I'm just.
You don't want it, but you know it.
No, it's. I mean, the crazy thing is if Johnny Walker beats him in next weekend, then it's fucking Johnny Walker versus Alex Pereira a little later this year, which would just be Brazilian chaos. But then it's Yuri and Rakic, and so it just depends. Like, I mean, if Magomed beats Johnny Walker in any, like, if it's exciting for 1 minute, right? Like then he should be next. But if it's another snooze fest, then he's going to sit on the sidelines, and it's going to be the winner versus Yuri and Rakic fighting Alex Pereira next.
That's a great point. It's really interesting though, because like looking at these guys here, I think stylistically, Rakic or Ankalaev are the safest picks.
Yeah,
right? Like, just
it's the whoever's put a good grappler in there. That's who's going to ultimately possibly beat Alex Pereira, right? Like that's the only thing. But if the longer Alex is champion, and the longer he has to like get better at takedown
Yeah.
defense. It's going to be
Which
harder to
is
fucking
getting
beat.
better. It is. We are seeing his grappling defense
Yeah.
is improving. So
Yeah.
that is a great point too. But yeah, if I had to pick, I'm gonna believe in ankles. Ankle hive.
It's the safest pick.
Yeah, for sure. And then all right, now here's the dramatic one, Alex. Here's the drama was with heavyweight.
John
Um
Jones. John Jones. So John Jones isn't going to fight till November, so he's going to hold the belt.
well, the thing is though, the whole question is pretty much if he retires or not. That's the
Oh, well,
whole thing about this. Because yes, he'll have his fight. It'll be against fucking Stipe. He'll win. That's all he's got. Like he's not fighting twice this year, 100%. It's just a matter of if you think he's hanging around.
he's not going to hang around. So it's going to be
It's got to be Tom. He's too
yes,
good.
but do they do what like do they strip John as soon as he retires,
Oh,
right?
right. It's a
Or
matter
do
of
they?
the specifics, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like because he's gonna fight November.
Yeah.
That's he's returning next
Typically
November.
with retirements, they do it right away. Typically.
So then they'd have a month. Um,
That's the one
yeah,
where you don't gamble on that division if you are a better. You don't do that one.
I mean, yeah, it just depends on the timing because if he retires, it's still gonna be Tom, and I don't think anyone's
Yeah.
gonna beat Tom for a minute. So yeah,
Mhm.
so, I'll say Tom.
Yep. Agreed there. All right, now let's go to the ladies. My goodness, we're not counting featherweight because it's pretty much extinct, just unofficially at this point. I don't think we'll ever get a second champion, but we'll go top to bottom this time, and we will start with bantamweight, which is currently vacant. So I guess we can't. We're just predicting who will be the champ. We can't say that current will stay, unless we think it'll be still vacant by the end of the year. That's not going to happen. But what do we think, Alex? Who will end up at the end of the year with the title? Of course, we're kicking things off with Rocky P versus MBS this month as well.
Man, I don't give a fuck. Oh
Same.
man, I don't give a fuck. As long as it's not Juliana Pena, I don't give a
I
fuck, bro.
agree with that.
Um, I'm gonna say MBS. Fucking Myra Bueno Stella is gonna hold on to it.
Yeah, I mean, she has been definitely the most impressive as of late. Um, yeah, Yeah, as much as I wanna roundabout Aldana in there, and she finally comes up big in the big fight. I just can't trust it
That's
at this
tough.
point.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, let's go Bueno Silva there. But all right, flyweight though, this one has several directions that we can go, Alex. My goodness, Alexa Grasso, the current champ, most likely gonna be doing that trilogy with Valentina first and foremost, you would think. Depends, I guess, but we got Manon Fiorot versus Aaron Blanchfield. One's going to knock off the other to get into these sweepstakes, but I think that this is the Aaron Blanchfield year. She's
1,000%.
destined to be a champ. Been saying it since she got into the goddamn sport. She can get that fight at the end of the year. Beat Fiorot, have the other one play out. Timing all aligns beautifully, perfectly. It's practically a mini tournament.
I feel like she might even get it sooner because there's like a time limit on like her being the youngest women's champion. Like, isn't there? It's like 200 days or some shit like that.
Yeah, so they can get that on in there just in time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because yeah, Rose was 25 when she won, which is the record there. So yeah,
I think that means it's Blanchfield in the next division, Tatiana Suarez. It's just
all right.
it's
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much the 2-horse race there. As much as I love Yan Xiaonan, I'd love to see the upsets in there, but yeah, no, it's between Whaley or
and
Tatiana
it's
for
crazy because
strawweight.
like as much as like as good as Tatiana Suarez is, like Whaley's takedown defense is getting very very good, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's like the biggest walk in the park like everybody believes. Like Tatiana's just gonna run through Whaley Zhang.
Oh yeah,
Like
for sure.
You know, I think it's going to be a lot more competitive.
Oh, I think it's going to be an amazing fight. Like, yeah, especially for the reasons you said there. And then, of course, Whaley has the striking advantage. It's a great one. Like, that's one of the most anticipated matchups this year for sure. Whenever it does happen. So, and James asking, "What do you mean destined to be champ?" She has to go out there and win, and no one is destined to be champion. Yeah, I know. It's that's just how good she's been. It's how much talent she has, and the belief that it's like it feels meant to be. James, I know. I'm speaking literally here, but all right. So that is every division of the year wrapped up here in our champ picks. We will get to the movie club here in a sec, but first, might as well throw out a bold prediction for the year, Alex. What do you got in the chamber? Let me try and think. I haven't put too much thought into this. Let me think about what
Yeah, fuck,
is the bold one for 2024.
That's tough. I'm just gonna say Benoit Saint Denis is gonna be the number one contender going into.
All right, that is
the,
quite a bold one, yeah.
the next year.
Oh boy. Um, let's see. I'm gonna say my bold prediction for the year. I don't believe this, okay? But I'm gonna predict it because I think it's perfectly MMA stupidity. I think Francis Ngannou will lose his PFL debut. Doesn't matter who it's against. He'll get caught with something stupid. We'll be like, we have all the good, but it never lasts forever.
Bruno Capoloza knocks out Francis
If
Ngannou.
anyone's gonna do it, he certainly can.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this is a good one. Personal from Ghost says, I have a bold prediction. The UFC will not catch me for copyright because of what I'm working on.
That's
Definitely
funny.
bold. But yes, you are working on a smart roundabout there, Ghost. So, all right, there we go. Let's get into the Drelex Movie Club now with your spoilers. We've had 2 weeks to watch our movies. You better have done it. I was late. I watched last night. I was actually going to do it like Friday, but then I was having issues with my watching. So got around to it though. I had The Wrestler from 2008. Alex had Everything Must Go 2010, 11-ish, if I'm remembering correctly. Alex, how should we kind of go about this? Should we talk about our movies we just watched, or should we talk about our best / favorite of 2023 first, and then we'll get, of course, to what's next? What is the order we should go in here?
Let's just get to these movies real quick because there isn't much. Everything Must Go. It's it was a good movie. I think Will Ferrell. It all relied on his performance, right?
Yeah.
And he was good. He was good. It's another comedian doing a dramatic role, and it was one of his best. Like it was really good. I enjoyed the one scene that Helen Hunt was in. She kind of she was good. Yeah, it was like it. I don't know. Like I like the story. I thought the writing was like really good and clever. That the alcoholism, I really that's like what related. Like I related to that. You know, drug addiction, but it's the same kind of overlaps. So like I related to that. Hit me on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it was a solid movie. Like it's a good 7 out of 10. Good little indie movie. And like I said, like the movie would not work if Will Ferrell gave a bad performance, and it was a good one. It was like just like kind of a subdued. It was like a subdued,
very
and
chill
crazy,
watch.
yeah, 1000%. And like there wasn't like I was expecting it to be like a dramedy, right? But it was more of a drama than anything. With like the comedy was like sprinkled in there,
and they hit
and
you
that's
hard when
what,
they were there. Yeah,
and like Will Ferrell is so good at like being dramatic, but like throw a little one in there.
Yes, a little nugget.
Yeah, so it was good, and and of course the little boy Christopher Jordan Wallace. He's
great.
I thought he was like the star of the show too. So yeah, 7 out of 10. It's good.
Yes, yes, definitely one of my favorite little indie films, and one of my favorite serious comedian roles for sure. I always love when they kind of branch over because they can always fucking do it, Alex. That's my favorite thing is like the comedy actors can always kill it in the serious roles, and it's always really fun to
But a
see.
drama actor can't do comedy.
No, no, that is much more challenging. So take that for what you will, you guys. But all right, I'm really excited to talk about The Wrestler actually, and it's funny that I have to thank Alex for making me put my wrestling watching to good use because I keep up with wrestling and all. Let me say this first of all. I think it's the stupidest fucking thing on the planet. I really do, but for some reason I remain intrigued. I was a big fan growing up, but more so now with the business side. Like I don't even really watch matches anymore, but I just follow along because I'm like, what are they doing with the story? So now he's making me not waste my time with this. So the wrestler of 2008, Darren Aronofsky, can he miss, Alex? That's the question. Can the man miss? One of probably the greatest directors of the generation, really. Um, and this movie was pretty chef's kiss. I think, Alex, I'm going to spoil you right here. I think this was our first 10 out of 10 from the movie club on my end. It
Wow.
was I think that this was phenomenal. So I'm going to go through the notes here. And my first note, because it was the first thing that happened or that I jotted down, but as I always got to point out the little appearances, we got comedian Todd Barry as Randy's boss at the store. That was fun to see. It's that coming. He was a mega douche lord. So he was great in his very, very minor role that he had there. Um, and of course, everything about Mickey Rourke's look in this movie is absolutely perfect. He's just so gross. Like, he's just the nastiest guy, unfortunately, but he was perfect for the role for all of these reasons. And I mean, just as in terms of his acting, he was great too, of course. And I love the portrayal, or not portrayal, but kind of the highlighting of all the little nuances of this incredibly stupid lifestyle, you know? 'Cause the thing, like, being a wrestler is so fucking stupid to me. Like, I get it. Obviously, I know why it's entertaining and all that, but just the little things they have to go through, like when he's dyeing his hair and, going to the tanning booth and like all these things that this like 60-year-old guy is like how fucking dumb, dude. But it was brilliant. I'm glad that they kind of highlighted these little things that people don't think about that they have to do on their regular basis and whatnot. Um, I thought it was a really neat way. This was one of my favorite parts of the movie. It was very cool how Darren directed the death match, starting out with afterwards, like the very end of it, and then going back through it and then kind of bouncing a little bit with how it was told and, taking cleaning them up after because that was, they are what they are. And it was very poetic for him to almost die from it. So I like the little elements there of the story. In that regard was great, beautifully told. Um, and I never quite caught on to this. Maybe I think actually now I think about it right now, this was more of just a him living and embodying being a wrestler. But if you noticed, Alex, like throughout the movie, whenever Randy's last name was used, he didn't like it. He would be like, no, Randy, like he would deflect it like the whole time. And I
Hmm.
noticed that, and there was never an explanation. Was like, that's interesting. And I think now circling back to it, he was the Ram. He wasn't Randy, Ramchek or whatever his actual name was, or Robin, I guess, which was a great little part there at the store when they gave him the wrong name tag and he was pissed off about it. So,
Yeah.
um, got to highlight, of course, Marissa Tomei in this movie. She was absolutely excellent. And I like how both her and Randy are having like the same living in the past problem as she's playing the stripper Cassidy. And I gotta tell you, Alex, it's absolutely laughable, hilarious to think Marissa Tomei would struggle as a stripper. That was the funniest thing to me. I was
Yeah.
like,
In a
I
fucking
don't.
movie full of pure fiction. Like that's
Yes,
like
this
like what?
completely. You knew it wasn't based off true events there, but she was amazing though. Just in every scene, she kind of like stole it a little bit there. I loved the store work scene where Randy was having like his first day, and it was like treated like he was walking to the ring, like going through the back. I was like, that was a really fucking cool way to do that. So that was a chef's kiss scene there, and then how he ends up like, getting into it and enjoying it was really fun. And then also got a shout out Evan Rachel Wood. She was phenomenal as well. Only had 3 parts in the movie. Like I wouldn't say 3 scenes, but she was in it 3 different like times, right? But every scene that she was in was excellent. Like they had pretty good chemistry in those moments. But yeah, more of the emotional parts, obviously, with the father daughter dynamic there. But excellent stuff. I mean, pretty much everybody who was acting in this movie, they did a great one, especially the key characters. Um, but Alex, I'm telling you, the ending of this movie might have been the most perfect ending I've ever seen in my life. This was cinema. this was this was all the chef's kisses, okay? Like just alone for the parallel drawn between Randy and Cassidy where she's seeing him perform now and like this and before going out I was like fuck, chills at that moment. And then the way the match plays out and everything, like just him like accepting death of probably, it's ambiguous, but for this life that he has just, let overtake him, this character and all that. It was incredible, man. Like anybody should watch the movie just for the ending alone. Like the whole thing's fantastic. Like I said, this is a 10. I really didn't expect it to be flawless in this regard, but dude, that was so good. That was I mean, I love Requiem for a Dream. I love I mean Aronofsky in general just can't really do any wrong. I need to see some more of it. The Whale was fucking incredible. Probably the one of the best movies I saw this year, but it's from last year, of course. Um I mean this is I think is my favorite of his now. I don't know if I want to say it's his best because Requiem for a Dream is probably what I would put it up against there. Both incredibly different, but like this was just such a
It's
great
yeah,
portrayal
it's
of
tough.
fuck. Yeah, like ooh, yeah. It was good though. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely get on that one.
Funny enough, actually, I think I'm gonna go watch The Iron Claw tonight. Which,
Ooh.
yeah, so I'm super happy about that. Yeah. So best movies of 2023. So I ended up seeing 40, 33 2023 releases in theaters. Um, and I will get you a sort by highest first. So, I'm just gonna give you like my ones that I ranked 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Oppenheimer,
Yep.
fantastic.
Yep.
The creator, really love the creator. I love how they made a $80 million movie look like a fucking $1 billion movie.
Mhm.
Visually fantastic. Killers of the Flower Moon, really good.
Mhm.
Evil Dead Rise, fantastic. So yeah, 2 horror movies.
That
Actually,
was
maybe
an
even
early
3.
one too, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Evil Dead Rise, Talk to Me, Saw 10. Fucking
Dang, there we
great.
go.
Yeah, good movie for horror. Air, really loved Air. John Wick, the last chapter. I thought it just ended perfectly. It's the fucking perfect franchise. Couldn't do anything better than that. Um, Guardians of the Galaxy, the final Guardians of the Galaxy movie, really good. And then Sisu, it's a revenge
Oh, I
movie
want
about
to see that
Nazis.
one. I haven't got
Yeah,
to it.
so good. So those are the best movies of the year so far. That I saw this year.
Yes, yes. Good deal. Good deal. Yeah, I didn't. I need to get on my letterbox. I don't have an official list or anything, but I was looking through things last night after I watched The Wrestler, and I think for me, it came down to two movies this year, and you mentioned one of them, Oppenheimer. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. Like, of course, based off, uh, reality too with Oppenheimer himself, but I mean, just the way that Christopher Nolan just majestically crafting that movie.
Only Christopher Nolan could make a biopic about the
Yes.
guy who did the bomb. Like
Yeah.
it's only a few people on planet Earth that could do that, and he's one of them.
And yeah, undeniably, I like one of undeniably the scene of the year, but one of the greatest scenes of all time was the bomb scene. The explosion scene was breathtaking, literally and figuratively. Like it is just watch the movie alone just for that, but everything else that goes along with it is phenomenal as well. Great story. I just picture, but it's between that and The Holdovers, which I saw recently with Paul Giamatti. Excellent movie. Like it's an all timer Christmas movie, I guess you could say. I mean, it is a Christmas movie and all that, but like it's one of those where you kind of can predict and know what's going to end up happening at the end, but it's all done so well. The script and writing, the direction, everything about it, it feels old, like from the 70s when it was done. Yeah, when that was taking place. But just so good. Paul Giamatti kills it, really escapes into his character. Like I was saying, I think on my stream on Saturday. Um, like, I forget that it's him. Like, that's how well he did in that as well. And he will probably be nominated. I think he might. There was something he's already nominated for the role, but just the movie overall is really great. And Dominic Sessa, I believe, who was the the other guy. That was his first movie, and he does very well. Like his first acting role, killed it there. Definitely, if you haven't seen The Holdovers, it's trust me that's a 10.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it eventually. I just don't like Alexander Payne movies. They're just not
Yeah.
my vibe. It's just not. It's I just don't. I don't vibe with them at all. It's. I feel like it's like a fucking pain for me to watch them for some reason. Yeah, it's just
Hey, I see what you did.
yeah.
Trust me
Yeah.
though, this one I don't see how somebody can't enjoy this movie. Like it's so good. And
Actually, I'll throw one more in there real quick. Thanksgiving by Eli Roth. I actually just watched that last night. It's
okay.
fucking really good. It's
Yeah, I
fucking
heard that one was
yeah.
underrated too. And I do want to shout out Dream Scenario, which I also saw over the break here. Was also, unsurprisingly, just that I had faith in it that it was going to be good, and it was very good. So definitely check that one out. Very unique story, of course, and some good elements to it. And I I just want to say this just to say it, Alex, but I haven't rewatched Beau is Afraid. But honestly, I've thought about it more and more since watching it, and it has grown on me, and I like it and appreciate it more. So it's not going to be at the tip top here with these other ones mentioned, but I appreciate it more, and I might bump it up at least a rank, having just like processed it more because obviously there's a lot to process because it's Beau is Afraid, and it
I think
was
you're
from this
muted.
year. Did you lose me? Can you hear me?
No.
No? Am I here? Alex?
Mm-mm.
How about now? Let me go in and out real quick. One sec.
Other no, there you are.
How about now?
There you are.
How
Boom.
was that?
That's fucking weird.
All right, did you hear what I said?
No, not really. I was trying to read your lips, but
Yeah, I was saying, I just gotta say this. I'm not gonna say it's at the tip top with those other ones I just mentioned, but Beau is Afraid has grown on me. I appreciate it more since having watched it. I haven't rewatched it, but having sat with it and processed it, I'm like, that was actually really fucking good. Like, I did enjoy it more and more as I've thought about it. But
wait.
uh, I gotta do this shout here real quick too, because James says, "How did you rank The Killer?" The Killer was definitely one of my favorite movies this year too, 100%. And we reviewed that one, recapped it here on the show together a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's up there. I think Alex picking apart the ending kind of lowered it for me for sure, and I'm just kind of right. Killer definitely deserves a shout because that was definitely one of my favorites too. So. All right. Well, on that note, we will get to our gives for this week. Real quick, James says, I'm working on Love Exposure. It's really long. Yeah, I told you it's 4 hours, but I'm glad to hear it. I hope you're enjoying it because it is something else. And Alvin says the rest of it was phenomenal. My favorite scene and most uncomfortable scene was Randy visits his estranged daughter. Yes. Mickey Rourke was phenomenal. The rest was a continuous celebration of the burdens and splendors of the profession of performance. That is very well said, Alvin. Absolutely. All right, Alex, what are we cooking up this time? Should we do a combo deal? Should I go see the Iron Claw as well? What do you think? Should you got unless you got another one you want to throw me?
I mean, I have a list. It's up to you. I mean, if you want to go see the Iron Claw, because I'm gonna go see it tonight. So if you
No, I
want
gotta go away from wrestling. I gotta do something else.
to, for sure. Yeah, well then I gotta buy. I got some heavy hitters
All
on
right, let's
deck.
go. What do we got?
Have you seen? I feel like you've probably seen this movie because you. But have you seen the Sound of Metal?
No, I've been wanting to though. Actually, is that the one with
Riz
Joseph
Ahmed.
Gordon-Levitt? No.
Riz Ahmed.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't. But
Okay. All right. Well, you're gonna fucking love it because it's about
all
movies.
right, yes, that
There you
does
go.
sound right up my
Might,
alley.
might be your second 10 out of 10.
All right, looking forward to it. Okay, and then yeah, I got a list of options here for you too. I'm gonna give you a fun one. When I thought about this one, um, which I honestly just want to rewatch myself too, and maybe you've seen it, but we're going back to 1988 here with Talk Radio, Alex.
Talk radio. No, I haven't seen talk radio.
It's about a radio host, and so on the mic here, but it's good. It's the first movie for I'm forgetting his name, but he was like the cousin in Uncut Gems, which
Okay.
um
That's Oliver Stone, huh?
yeah, no, fantastic movie.
Okay.
So yes, there we go. Talk radio and the sound of metal. So both going with sound themes. I like it. But all right, that will wrap up the Dralex Movie Club. Hope you guys got to enjoy some film over the weekends as well, and enjoy. Can get on the ones with us here this week or something new. Just get out. There's a lot of good ones out right now, Alex, and a lot of things coming in 2024. I think so. Gonna be fun. But all right, I think we pretty much got to all the questions throughout the show today. There was one after I bounced out just now. I dropped my stars, so it might be gone. Yeah, all the comments are messed up now. It looks like that's okay. We've gone on for long enough. We will wrap it there. You guys, we are getting back to the schedule. Next week, UFC is back. Still nothing this week. But that's okay. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us, MMAmania.com, all that good stuff. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Follow me at Drake Riggs _. Follow him at Alex Behunin. And look forward to the new year. Happy New Year once again. Alex, anything coming? Anything in the pipeline works? I know you teased a project here throughout. What can we look forward to though to kick off 2024?
Yeah, this week I'm doing a profile on Fury Fighting Championships. Other than that, nothing. My tidbits will be back next week for the first UFC card of the year. But other than that, oh, I got something. I think we're like 15 followers away from 100,000 followers on Twitter.
Ooh,
So, if you haven't followed that and you want
yeah.
to keep my job,
Put the food on the table for your boy.
put it on the table. You don't want me to starve. Go follow Mania on Twitter. I know you won't not
regret
like
it.
yeah, you won't regret
it. Yes, definitely. So that's a great landmark to hit here as we roll on in. Yeah, I don't have anything to plug yet. At this time of year, it's always more of kind of chilling and mapping out. So working on some things, of course, and have some ideas, but nothing that I can directly tease you guys all with. But just thanks again for all the support the past year and going forward. My goodness, we haven't got too crazy of news here in the first week yet, but if last year's anything to go by, we're in store for something soon. But hopefully not as bad because last year was actually pretty shitty. So, all right. On that note, we'll wrap it on up, you guys. Thanks so much again. We will see you next week, same time, Tuesdays, 12 p.m. Pacific time. Sound and Pound. Stay safe and stay sane, my friends.